whether you are watching live or archived, we need your help to keep fun going. You can subscribe to First Updates now on Twitch, give bits, or make a donation. If you're watching on YouTube, there's a link in the description on how you can help fun.
So we're going to start with the FRC medals from 2019 for 2019. So last week, First published photos of the medals for the 2019 season. I know Tyler's going to pull that picture up for us in a second here. On one side, they have the Destination Deep Space presented by Boeing logo. And on the reverse, they have the First Robotics competition logo. So the discussion we're really going to go into, and we'd love to see, again, your opinions in chat. We'll try to shout some of you guys out as well, is should the medals be game-specific? That's a trend we've noticed in the last couple of years. And secondarily, are we okay with sponsor names on the medal? Karthik, your thoughts?
So, I like the medals. Like, they're whatever. Like, they are, cute enough. On the sponsor logo thing, I mean, if Boeing's going to spend the money, like, First is beholden to their sponsors. Like, there's no other way of putting it. It's a not-for-profit organization. I mean, we were actually talking about doing the annual report as a segment for tonight's show, and I was like, I have nothing to say about the annual report except that it takes a lot of money to run First. And so if this is the way to get it, sure, why not? I mean, a lot of people, not a lot of people, but some people on Facebook have been saying, oh, well, this kind of is like First selling out. I don't really consider it selling out until you've sold out your core values. And I don't think First has done anything like that. Like, if this was the Deep Space Challenge and our medals are sponsored by Papa John's, I'd be a little bit annoyed, but it's not. It's Boeing. It's a company that supports STEM education in all sorts of the way, and they do good things. So I'm totally fine with that. As for the look and the game specificity of the medals, I mean, I like the old school medals, but I'm old, so I don't know. I think First is trying to do a bigger job of branding their seasons around the games and the game names and the logos that go with it, and that has to do with the themes. So I guess it's a way, but like, I think the medals that Tyler is showing on the screen right there from like 2009, like, those looked really snazzy, and I don't feel the same way about this one. But at the same time, man, I'd just be happy to win a medal. So like, if you think about it, there is something cool. If you look at the Olympics, the medals change for each Olympiad, and it's heavily based around the culture of the host nation. Like, First obviously can't do that for this sort of thing, but just making it year specific is kind of neat.
Yeah, absolutely. So I want to point out a couple of things from chat. One is from Jamie. Something to note, we had Qualcomm being a presenting sponsor for Championship. I don't see this as any different. I tend to agree with that, kind of to your point, Karthik, is it's not that they are selling space on the medal. It's not called the Boeing Gold Medal. The game is not called Destination Boeing Rockets. It's a piece of this kind of unifying of the program. It seems like every program has their own sponsor. A critique
3,
directly.
2, 1, Boeing.
3, 2, 1, sponsored by Boeing.
I'm shameless. I'll do whatever they put on my script. Actually, that's usually
he will read anything you put on the teleprompter. I think so. There's a couple of things. The actual photo that First posted, a lot of people are saying, oh, it looks 3D printed. I actually think that kind of gray one, Tyler, if you wouldn't mind posting that back on the screen. I think the gray one actually is, right? Like, one of the complaints was like the fidelity of that image is not very good. And I think that has nothing to do with it being the medal. I think that's just a 3D printed mock-up. I do think that it looks good. I had a huge critique on the First Steamworks medal. I did not like the Steamworks medal at all. I wish that I had the forethought to grab my medals out of their storage box.
Is that the one that looks like a crumpled up piece of paper?
It looks, maybe it wasn't Steamworks. It was Stronghold. No, sorry, the Stronghold one. It was the Stronghold one because it looked like it was poorly stamped. But I do think the Deep Space one looks good. Like a couple other folks have pointed out in chat, though, and I've pointed this out, I said this on the First Updates Now Facebook page, which you should totally go and like, by the way, ding, is that the First unified logos look better overall. Hakyogen in the chat is saying, I feel more pride in a logo-based medal with the year and First Robotics competition than in an ad on a piece of metal. And that's a really fair point. I really like the First medals. I like the fact that there are for such a long time, they were the same. They were that one that Tyler had up earlier with the first logo. It was sort of like punched out of the metal. There was a ring around it that said first robotics competition and the year. It felt like this one. Thank you, Tyler. It felt like when you put all of those up on the wall over a season or over your series of seasons, it was clearly first. And putting on my day job is marketing. You would think that first would want people to go, oh, what is that medal for? Oh, first robotics, cool. Not Steamworks, Stronghold, like what do those things mean after that year has expired? Eric brings up in chat, back when I collected my medals, I had to write in Sharpie on the back what year an event it was from. That's why I wish I had gotten my medals out to talk about them, because I did the exact same thing. And in some cases, when I'm gifted one from a team that I was hanging out with or like helping with in some minor way, I actually have like what team it was, with. Not that I wouldn't know, but like it's a sentimental thing for me. It's really important to me to hang on to those. But much like a different topic that we're going to get to, I think we sort of see it, Karthik, you and I, in terms of like a longer scope over time. But one of the realities of first robotics competition is that within a period of 4 years, you've got you've got a complete program participant turnover. It's the volunteers and the mentors that might be here for like a long time. I think now that we've gone through almost a whole cycle of games, or we'll be at a full cycle of games where it's the game logo, we may kind of be stuck here. So I think that could be a part of it. I like that they're honoring the game. You don't have to do the Sharpie on the back, but I do miss the first logo ones. I thought they made more sense as a branded display. Looks like Tyler, you've got an opinion as well. Show producer Tyler, you want to jump in?
I'll jump in. So the big issue I have with this medal is would we agree that the medal on the left is what the front is going to be, and the medal on the right is essentially the back of that medal, right, in silver and gold? Would you say, Karthik?
I would presume so, yeah.
So here's my big issue, I guess, is that I would like to see the first part on the front. Like, that's the thing that stands out. That, like, if we look at the old punch medals, that we maybe not what this is in particular, because I think this does not look very good, but they have the first part in front, not Destination Deep Space necessarily. Put that on the back, or somewhere working first with Destination Deep Space on the front makes way more sense to me. And if they want to do, something with Boeing, then put that on the back of the medal or something like that. I would highly doubt that Boeing said, "Thou shall place my name and logo on the front of the medal, or we shall give you no money." I think that was a strategic choice by First to appease Boeing, and I think there could have been a better way to do something like that.
I do want to point out one thing really quickly, Tyler. I think the picture shows like a printed proof and a fully stamped or molded finished medal. It seems like, so I have the power up medal, and I'm glad you had that up on the screen because I could go duck and get some medals for examples. This is the power up one. There is no clear like which one is the front and which one is the back, because they both have that kind of ridge. So hopefully the macro on this works okay. I'm glad my light isn't blinding you guys. But it seems like, given the fact that they're going to sort of like twist around as you're walking with them. However, when I do this and I just let it rest, power up is what comes towards the front. That could just be how they were assembled. But
I think
I just want to put them up for comparison. I want to put them on the same screen for people to compare if I can figure out how to do this. So that's the difference between the two first logo sides. The thing that comes up immediately for me looking at them next to each other is that the first logo and the first branding is so much smaller on the recent medals. And from a perspective of, I work at First, I want First to spread, that makes no sense to me. That is my day job is marketing, and I want my brand to succeed. That is the thing that just doesn't make any sense.
I love
to
that
me.
the acronym on your old medal, by the way, is explained out on it. I think that's a really nice touch.
Oh, I totally forgot about that. Yeah, right. Around the top. Also, Karthik, sorry, this is a 2014 medal. This is the for inspiration and recognition in science technology all the way around. Like, it literally says what I talked about if I was gifted one. It says where it's from, but it's this is a, like, it says what First is. It explains what First even stands for. It tells you when you won it, but it unifies it against the brand of First. And I tend to like that better, even if they don't flip very well.
I think that's cool and all, but like, I mean, who's looking at your medal that closely other than yourself, an inner participant of the program? So I think the medals from the past look good, but I think the trophies from the past look better too because they were like 3 times as big. So
my only issue with this, and if the new medal, if the silver one is just like a mock-up, that's fine. But if it's embossed like that, I think that looks really just Bush League personally. Like it's something that just looks super cheap to me, and I'm not a big fan. So I hope it's just not. I hope it's not embossed like it is like that. And if you don't know what embossed is, like that's just means it's essentially stamped or imprinted like that.
I guess I don't know. My thought is like if I'm gonna complain about something, I'm definitely gonna complain about the plaques they give out now instead of giving out 2 trophies and how the trophies have shrunk so much. But it's hard for me to get, it's hard for me to get to develop any sort of emotional reaction to these medals in any way.
Totally.
If I'm going to be candid, I'm going to be candidly and say I candidly don't care.
That can be a new. It's a ranking system of what we're actually incensed about. Are we candidly speaking? Are we candidly yelling? Or are we candidly don't care?
Yeah, I'm candidly apathetic.
So there's a couple of comments.
Editing the show doc. I still hold a grudge against Libby for scuffing my Jordans. Oh, that's true. I did read it.
He will read anything you put here. A couple things from chat. I think this year, this is from the Ultra Corgi, I think this year the difference is that the main logo for the game doesn't incorporate the First logo the same way that the others did, or at least First branding. And I tend to, like, First Power Up is called First Power Up, but it even includes First in the correct font as I'm looking at it. But the Destination Deep Space is the first time in a couple of years that we have not had First in the game name. So that's a good point. Eric brings up, my only problem with specific logos is that some year they'll look crappy and other years they'll look great. Otherwise, I don't care.
I mean, they should try not to make crappy game logos. Like,
you never know. I would really appreciate more use of the Destination Despacito image, which I will happily post in the First Updates Now Discord for your use later. Someone patched up Deep Space and made it Destination Despacito. It makes my heart